to get the live streaming service started and setting up our meeting. And any second now, redirecting, and there we go. All right. Okay. So, I think we're here. I think we're on. So, did an accidental invention become the fastest selling toy in history? Can a hazardous material become a building material? And is a nuclear reactor literally coming to your own backyard? Well, these and other interesting topics we're going to be talking about tonight in your July edition, very, very special edition of Inventor Friday. I'm Don Skaggs, your host. Thank you for being here. We really, really appreciate you being here online on Zoom in our inner circle, and then also on our live stream on our live stream. So we're glad to have you there on YouTube as well. And we're down a couple people tonight. So George is normally here. We've got Julie helping us out with a lot of tech issues. She's supposed to be a special guest, but instead she's actually really helping to save my neck in getting everything working well. Julie, tell everybody who you are, what you're all about.
Oh, well, okay, put me on the spot. Hang on a second. Which camera's me? There we go.
She's switching the cameras tonight.
Yeah, I'm George tonight. Hi, George, if you're watching, listening. I'm Julie Buttromovich. I one of the co-founders here at Lexington Makerspace, which I'm sure Don will give us more introduction about later. Yep. But I'm a web developer by trade. I professionally troubleshoot, Google, you name it, I can probably figure it out.
You certainly figured out our problems.
Now a CNC engineer too, because she just picked up a program the other day for one of our ceramic specialists and stuff. She wanted a bat system is what it's called. It's not in the shape of a bat, but it's something for when it comes to spinning and doing ceramics. And we got the file, but it was a SCAD file. None of us had played with it. She looked up, did one web search, and then the next day she was like, oh, hey, check this out. Yeah, so I designed this entire thing and did it. It's done now. Because those things are like, they're $200 or $300 for a really good one. Wow. I found out how expensive ceramics are, and she just managed to design one.
It was in my wheelhouse. So SCAD is, 3D modeling, but it's code-based. And that's what I do. So,
wow. And that's not what I do. I like pictures to click on.
Yeah, it's so simple.
Yeah, even Fusion or whatever is definitely not a pop-up picture book. Maybe for like, I don't know, Harvard students.
Oh, yeah. Well, also Leo's normally here, and he's out. He's on the injured list tonight. Let's just put it that way. So he's going to be back. We just hang in there. He'll be back, I'm sure, at the next one. Or at a subsequent meeting or workshop very, very soon. So anyway, not on medical leave for a little bit, but he's going to be fine. So also with us tonight is the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Whitler. Chris, tell us a little bit about you, who you are, what you're all about.
My name is Chris, and we started this makerspace about a year ago. I was a member at a previous makerspace called Create Now. You might have heard that on our previous episode. And unfortunately, they closed their doors. I believe it was September 14th was the last day at that place. And in July, when we got the news, I went around and scrounged all over Lexington trying to find properties. Originally, I said, hey, we'll do it out of David's barn. And of course, David's not here with us tonight, unfortunately, but we were going to do that. And then I thought to myself, I just put in a 2-week notice. I was getting ready to become partner with him and then quit my traveling job. And I traveled for 5 years all over the world. And then I got that news. Look, 20 minutes after I literally put in my 2-week notice, they were like, oh, we're shutting down. So I was like, crap. So we decided to form a makerspace. and we had no knowledge whatsoever. But over the 5 years, I traveled to makerspaces all across the country, met with all the owners and stuff, and talked with them and said, "Hey, what could, help me?" Because we were very blind on how to fix this situation, and we managed to be able to get a lot of advice. And we had 36 days to form a makerspace, or at least start the construction. In fact, this room right here that we're in, you probably didn't even have 2 or 3 feet of clearance space to walk between the entrances. There was a band back here. There was a whole office here. We have so many photos on our Facebook of what this place looked like before.
Yeah.
So
Cool pictures if you've not seen them.
Oh yeah. So I love doing this stuff, and you'll see how far that I'll go just to become continue woodworking. And then now we've moved into metal cutting and doing work with Xometry.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
While we run the nonprofit here, we have a separate business that we have started up, and we're getting a fiber laser here in a couple of weeks, a big fiber laser, not the hobbyist one. This is a very nice one, and we're preparing for that now. That's going to be our big thing, but we still do carpentry on the side if we actually not cleaning this place or doing stuff.
What that is up there.
That we're getting ready to do that. That is a really beautiful 200-year-old piece of walnut. David found about 2 pieces of it.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's what that was.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we surfaced it recently, and it's getting ready for a river pour. So
We should have set up a wall.
Oh, you're gonna put the beautiful resin in there?
we decided that someone told us to split it down the middle and flip it
Yeah.
over and river it. And I said, absolutely not.
No.
That is beautiful. It was a ½ inch from being too big on the CNC router to where I was going to actually have to shave some off, but we hit it right on. And no, we're going to do the outlining. It's going to be black epoxy because we want to actually show how beautiful that wood is. If you get a close-up look on it, it's magnificent.
Yeah.
We literally started that. That was the slab that me and David started and said, "Hey, let's do our woodworking business." And then all of that got put on hold for a whole entire year while we were forming all of this. And just last week, I was finally like, "Let's pull it off the shelf. Let's get back to it." So
Pick back up where you left off.
yeah, we thought it would take months or whatever, and in fact, it took a year. But then the actual work total is probably like 12 to 14 hours worth of work.
Oh, man.
That the piece behind you?
Yeah, it is. It's 74 inches long, and it is 47.75 inches wide. So I was not joking. It is literally a ½ inch total between both sides of clearance for most of even the slab surfacing table behind it where you can manually slab surface. It was too small.
Yeah, Don can tell you that I have a little knowledge about wood and all
Yeah,
that.
we should get you guys together.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, let's see. Also tonight, I guess you've noticed, if anyone hasn't noticed yet, we are we're on a special night. This isn't usually the Friday that we have Inventor Friday. So we're mixing it up a little bit, and we're also mixing it up because we're not in our usual building, our usual location. We are in the Lexington Makerspace, which you can probably see from all the stuff around us and everything. It is pretty cool, it's pretty wild. So anyway, we're really, really glad to be in here tonight. Also, I want to thank our sponsors. Number one, let's show you LexMake, because those are the wonderful folks here at LexMake that are letting us broadcast from tonight. They have a website. It's called lexmake.org. And so you can learn all about them. Here's all those pictures that Chris was talking about. So you want to look all this up. It's a lot of cool stuff. All the different things that they do.
That was a slide thing. That photo at the very
before
top.
and after.
Yeah, that is a
Oh,
before
that's
and
the
after.
before and
Yeah.
after.
Grab that center dot and go back and forth.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you go back. Yeah.
Okay, now look at that. Now that.
That was after 2 weeks of cleaning.
Wow.
where that blue stand is in the center left.
Yep.
That's where we're sitting right now.
Yeah.
So we're sitting right there, and that's what it used to look like. Wow.
And we even changed that even more too.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll be updating more things as we go along.
Constantly evolving.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, also, another sponsor we have is Balance Briefs, one of our own, Bennett Gatto, which is he's a physical therapist, and he found that people will enhance their stance, be able to walk better, if someone is prone to losing their balance, or if they just want to increase certain muscle areas. These are briefs that will actually increase your stance, and you want to check him out. Bennett's actually going to be at the state fair, which I want to talk about in a minute. It's going to be a big.
That's awesome. I wonder if it would work to help your stance in golf.
Yes, he's thought about doing the golf route with that. So yeah, so you definitely want to check that out. Balancebriefs.com. Also, if you've been to our website in the last few days, you might have noticed a new announcement we've made. So we are doing the Kentucky State Fair. We're launching our innovation station. We did this back in 22. We're doing it again this year, and doing it again this year, we are really breaking out all the stops. So at this year, we're in a big commercial area. We've got a big 20 by 20 booth. We're going to have 7 tables, count them 7, with full of vendors as well as ourselves. And if you are an inventor or entrepreneur and you're looking for traction, you've got product to sell, and you want to move some product, this isn't going to be one of those show and tell type booths where you just kind of show what you got and that's the end of it. No, we're gonna sell product in this. So we've got a video on here. Just go to our website and then click on this link right here, learn more, and it will take you to your this page here that's going to give you all the details. And if you want to register and become a vendor, then you want to click right on register here. That's going to be at the Kentucky State Fair. That is all in Louisville, Kentucky, August 15th through 25th. If you can't be a vendor, show up and support us. So we'd love to have you there as well. But this is going to be a pretty amazing thing we're going to be doing. We've already got a lot of people signed on, and I'm excited. I'm excited. We think this is really going to be game changing for inventors and entrepreneurs everywhere. So
You just made our day, because now that we're seeing the photos, because
Yep.
she was like, it's inside. I was like, oh, thank God.
yes,
Outside under a tent.
Yeah, we thought we were going to be faking.
So the Freedom Hall has like 3 big wings. There's like a south wing and a west wing, and we're in the south wing. It's this big hall. It's nice.
That's where I saw my first
Really,
concert.
really nice.
That's all.
Yeah.
So yep, Freedom Hall. So anyway, go to our website, kyinventors.org, and sign up, learn more, and sign up for that. All right. So next up, we're going to talk about some inventions in history. So this first one we're going to look at tonight, let me get back there again, is actually, that's not it. Hang on, folks. We're going to get there. Actually, it is July 1st, 1952. The trademark for Silly Putty was officially registered. So it was actually an accidental invention, and there's an interesting story on it here. During World War II, there was an engineer by the name of James Wright. He was working for the War Production Board, trying to create an inexpensive substitute for synthetic rubber. And so he dropped boric acid into silicone oil. Don't try this at home, kids. It really did not go over well with the War Department. It did not work as good for that. But what he did find is that it did really, really work well for a popular toy called Silly Putty. So yeah, and if you've ever messed with Silly Putty before, it's pretty cool. And I also found that it was kind of interesting. The guy that invented it first, they were really selling it more for not initially as a toy. So it says, in fact, it was pretty much bombed at the 1950 toy fair, and then he first intended it for an adult audience for practical purposes, things like I think they'd like put it under the leg of a table to keep it stable, or things like that. Even the astronauts, I think
I feel like, I don't know, what was before the CIA? It was OSI, correct? Office of Secret Intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, could use it making keys.
That's true.
I'm just saying
that.
the military didn't need it. They just break down doors. But like, if you're trying to do something a little more covert, that might be the way to go.
I wonder if they did and just didn't tell us.
What do you think about typewriters? Because they used actual ink. So let's say that someone was doing a typewritten paper or something, and you put Silly Putty on there, it's pulling the ink off. So if you didn't have cameras or anything, you could just slap some Silly Putty and be like, well, I was going to do the comic strip today, but I will take these secret documents.
Hope to God you don't crush it.
I bet you $1 million.
That's the thing.
I'll get it. Oh yeah, and don't crush it. Get like a folder or something for your little satchel. But I feel like
I could say he's like carefully copied the page and then he wads it up and sticks it in his pocket.
Yeah, I know. It's like, did you get that? And be like, I'll get back with you.
Oh,
there's got a way to make Silly Putty hard. There's got to be a chemical to make it hard to where it just stays exactly like that.
So another thing I noticed about this is that Silly Putty, I really couldn't find a patent for it. I found trademarks a lot, and he was actually originally going to call it Nutty Putty, and I don't think that worked very well. So they call it Silly Putty, and that sort of made it take off. But what do you think? Given the choice, would you rather have a patent or think you'd rather have a trademark?
I mean, technically, you can just kind of really change anything up. You said it had silicone in it, right? Or yeah. Silica is extremely horrible and stuff like that for you. Silica and silicone is the same thing. I wonder
if they haven't changed that formulation.
I'm sure that they have. There's kids that eat this stuff.
You're right.
I ate it as a kid. So
is that what happened? It made you smarter?
That's what I am today.
Made you the man you are today.
But no, I think that yeah, that's just it's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, there was let me
trademark it. That way, no one can take the name.
Well, I kind of lean towards the trademark thing myself, and I'll tell you why. Let me look at this. Oh yeah, here's the composition, and in case somebody wants to make it, this doesn't sound as simple as boric acid and what they say the other one was. I forget now, but this is like dimethyl siloxane, silica, and then something called the Roxatrol. Again, don't try this at home, kids.
I don't think the kids can find Dioxatrol like Walmart or anything, and if they can, good on them. That's crazy.
Yeah, we kind of probably want to hire them. So yeah, I always go back to the old thing where it's the Levi jeans. So Levi's patent ran out in 20 years. So, and they were patented in 1880. So over 100 years, the patents have been expired. Their trademark is still active.
I think that's a big camp for them to go. We're just going to trade. We're going to patent pants. I felt like there was a lot of revolution back in the day. People just walking around without pants. It was like, I'm not wearing them. I'm not going to wear them.
It was tent material. So it was like this canvas tent material, and they found out this guy started making them for the miners out west, and that's where the Levi's started.
Wasn't Cowboys, wasn't Brett Favre, it was miners.
Yeah, it was the miners. People doing rough work. Might have been Cowboys too. I may not be.
I'm just waiting for someone with as far as Levi's goes though, like they held that patent. Well, I mean, so how did other gene companies get away with being able to make other genes? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, their patent ran out. So if they patented it in like 1880, by 1900, no more patent. So
Abercrombie. They're like, we're gonna
so
put holes in it.
everybody jumped in, but what they can't do now is have that Levi thing on the back pocket. That's their trademark.
Oh, the stitching pattern?
Stitching pattern on the back pocket is trademarked. That's the thing they can't.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was the little Zippo pocket or the little how it had like the buttons on there, but I didn't know it was the
Yeah, it's that stitching. That's their big trademark thing. And it's been over 100 years now. They still got it. They just keep renewing it. That's the beauty of trademarks. Plus, they're a lot cheaper than
yeah, patent's pretty expensive, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. So, all right. Well, let's move on to the next one here. This next one is almost there, folks. We're still in the city of Silly Putty, but we're not going to be there for long because on July 31st, 1790, the first U.S. patent was issued. Well, that's not it. Sorry, guys. Hang on a second. We're almost there. Oh, I'm jumping way ahead. No, July 17th,
Yeah,
1902, Willis Carrier invents the first modern air conditioner while experimenting to solve a moisture problem at a printing plant. So this was a kind of an interesting story. So this guy who's an engineer, and they had a problem at the I think he was making $10 a week. That's about $260 in today's money. We're working at Buffalo Forge Heating Company in New York. And so it was having a problem. It was trying to solve a problem for a printing company. And the paper was expanding and contracting. So because of the humidity they had in the East Coast. So he tried to figure out how to force air and over coils to chill it. And actually it had more to do with humidity than anything else. It was reducing the humidity. So the air conditioner was actually not for the cool people's homes or any other place. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And this is a little more on him. This is actually him in 1915. Hard to think about pictures being that old now, but
Carrier, the HVAC brand, is the original.
So that's the really cool thing. So the inventor's name is still on the company and alive. The company's alive and kicking to this day.
You know why, right? That's because that's the greatest invention in the entire world.
Yeah.
Like, I praise that guy at least once a week
Yes.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the greatest man like ever. Like, look, you can come up with a lot of stuff, but if I do remember right, there was a documentary and it was called How Beer Saved the World. And the second best invention was refrigeration. Actually, it was 1873, so it was before air conditioning. So this was just keeping stuff cool, but it was done by Carl von Lind. And the reason why was to be able to refrigerate a brewery. So beer is the reason we have refrigerators today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you can actually see the first, if George is hearing this, he can actually go out to Golden, Colorado, and he can see the first refrigerator ever. And it's the size of like this maker space.
Wow.
Yeah, it's massive. We've got big wheel. Looks like someone put a steamboat inside of a building. And it makes refrigerant. I don't think it's R134A anymore, but no, that is by far the second greatest invention.
So if you open a refrigerator door, think of beer.
Yeah, you have to think beer. The whole documentary was how beer saved the world. and I watched it. If anyone hasn't seen it, if you can be able
All
to
right,
find it,
I gotta find that.
Netflix had it for a while, and now you can't find it. It is one of the greatest documentaries I've ever watched. You have to drink beer the whole time when you're watching it. So
There's a note from Dan in the chat that says actually Egyptians could make ice and had refrigeration systems.
oh,
Well,
Ancient Egypt.
that's interesting.
That's cool.
where'd they get their copper at?
They
Well,
didn't
I've looked at that.
they had underground systems and they had slaves on top pouring water into tapered holes. And the refrigeration system was so efficient that they could actually make ice.
This was also on How Beer Saved the World. I know it's hard to remember that documentary because you have to drink when you watch it, but I do remember this being like the first concept, like in beer making and everything, and mead. And yeah, so
Actually,
first electric refrigerator was made in
First
in
elect-
Golden, Colorado.
okay,
I
yeah.
correct
Yeah,
myself.
it would have to modify that with the first electric.
He had to change it to electric. The Egyptians were like, "We are going to sue you." We
Oh, yeah.
It had to change it
this
up.
was a long time ago.
They
Well,
had to
air
make it-
conditioning also saved lives because of malaria and
Oh, yeah.
you know the South Carolina state bird is the mosquito. So yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on to the next one here. Let's see. Hang on just a second. And we will find it. So no, there was one more thing I wanted to show on this. So, or a question to throw out on the air conditioning kit. So he had set out to solve one problem and say solved a much bigger one at the same time. So have you ever solved a problem for one little thing and it turned out to
Yeah, this is amazing. No, I don't know if you know this or not, but
That's
you're
kind of a
sitting
softball
in a maker
question.
space right now. We literally went from a ceramics thing to a 3D print to an open source, CAD programming, and then we've had to solve a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in here.
Solve one thing and oh look, we can use this for something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, absolutely. Another thing is I thought this was real interesting about Carrier. He'd set out to let's see, what did he call it? The law of constant dew point depression. So he was actually trying to reduce humidity. He wasn't really trying to cool things.
He's like, I like the desert, but I want
Yeah.
to cool too.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Okay, well, let's let me find the next item here. So now we're gonna go to July 31st, 1790, and for those of you who might be a patent buff out there, you might know the year 1790 as the year of the very first patent. And yes, it is. So this is actually what it looks like. So this is July 31st. The very first patent was issued. Let me find it here. So first patent was granted to Samuel Hopkins for a process of making potash, an ingredient used in fertilizer. And President George Washington actually signed the first patent, which I thought was pretty cool. You can just sort of see the thing, and I've actually got a much better image of it.
Museum somewhere.
There we go. Now this is I guess they took the original. Let me turn it around here. There we go. So I think the number X000001 and the date was probably written in. I don't think they actually did that. I think it was on the original document we just saw. But you can see where it was signed by George Washington, and this was the entirety of the patent. which I thought was kind of cool.
Gosh, he had a really good signature.
You know, usually they're like 27 pages and
He was just good at everything.
all right. So yeah, very first patent in history, but it was for potash. And there was an interesting story related to this that I wanted to share. So the first person that issued this, let me find it. Some people thought that this was, sorry guys, lost my place. Hang on just a second. Oh no, maybe it is here. Ah, here he is. Licensing. So this tells a little more of the story. So this was a potash that was manufactured by burning wood, mixing the ashes with water. Remember, it was 1790, and then boiling off the liquid in large iron kettles, typically at the edges of newly cleared fields. So he had actually patented this, but some people think that he actually licensed this. And if you think about it, trying to see here, there's a part in here about licensing.
Have you ever been to a potash plant before?
I've not.
So if you're able to get on Google Maps, you can actually see it from space. In Moab, Utah, you can type in the potash ponds.
Oh wow.
And it looks purple on the satellite imagery, but there's these massive lakes that were out there, and I was out there for a wedding for my best friend, and we were like, I gotta take you to this place. No one really knows about it. We drove like 30 minutes in a Chevy Astro band van that had no suspension, but worth it. 100. It's the bluest blues you'll ever see. And they change color as it is getting produced into potassium.
Oh wow!
So we'll start out at blue in the Google Google Maps image. It actually shows the purple.
Wow!
So it'll be purple, green. It goes into a yellow, kind of red for a little while, and then it starts to turn blue. And when I mean blue, it is the lightest blue you will ever see. It's so beautiful. It looks like a fake ocean almost. I have photos on here, but I'd have to go back thousands of photos from that wedding. But you can type in Moab potash ponds in Google Images, and it will show you exactly what they look like. And it is one of the biggest potassium mines. And it's not just used for a lot of that stuff, makeup. So support, yeah. So like all these makeup companies, a lot of potash is used in making makeup.
All right.
It's a good mine compared to.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the image of it. Typically in the wintertime, you could see it in its full blue form. It's pretty hard to be able to catch it just right. Luckily, we were there in May when it was right at its turn. And there's a few of them tipped up. Oh, hey, I walked through there. Yeah,
Yeah?
that. Yeah, well, yeah. Do not cross the fence. You'll go to jail.
Really?
Yeah, you will go to jail and you will be a felon. So don't do, yeah, that's the beautiful blue. Wow, yeah.
That is.
And look,
pretty.
you can even see it from an airplane and stuff like that. Like if you look here in the lower corner, yeah,
Oh,
you can
wow.
literally see
Look at it stand out.
yeah,
there.
and it's very far away. So unless you have, make sure to download the Google Map directions to it before you go out there. Hey, I've been there. We walked there. It's such a long walk. Everyone was like, this better be worth it, Whitler. And they came in and they were like, wow, this, okay, all right, this is pretty cool. And it leaves this, it looks like the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
Because you, like
All
you said,
of
the
the-
baking soda and everything else. And it's literally like, if you walk through there barefoot, you would just razor blades at that point.
Wow. So they just collect what dries then?
I don't know.
and-
We went there when they were closed. We snuck out there.
The whole point of it is their evaporation ponds, right?
They do evap, but they also channel down, so they're tiered kind of like a rice paddy almost. So you'll
Oh.
actually see them going down. It's so big when you see it in person, you couldn't even see the last bit where it's getting in its filtration. You'd have to drive all the way around it, and it's like almost the whole 10-minute drive around it.
Wow.
It is one of the coolest things I have ever seen. I was very happy. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I
Wow.
wanted to swim in
Well,
it, but
now-
they were like, no, probably not.
I was gonna say, would it be bad to swim in something like
Yeah,
that?
probably. I mean,
I would
we
think.
all saw the Mythbusters thing where you drop 1 drop of potassium in a bathtub and it just,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
yeah. So,
not a good idea.
yeah, if it's doing that on the outside, I
Don't try
want to see
this
what it
at
does
home,
to the
kids.
inside of my pores.
No, 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 no. So this guy had made potash, and I kind of wonder what they did before potash, really.
Actually, it goes back a lot further. That patent was made way late in the game of potash. So, Don, all you'd have to do right now is go chop some firewood and go burn it in your fire pit, and whatever's left is your potash. It's as simple as that.
So maybe that's what they were doing before.
That's what a lot of farmers will do is use potash.
And maybe he just,
He was like, I'm going to patent it now.
yeah, or I'm going to patent some
Form
shortcut. Yeah, yeah,
Maybe it's a
like a
process
process
patent.
patent.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
before you just like I've used potash before in my gardening, and you just burn some wood for quite a bit,
Yep.
let it settle out, and then you take out the leftover. And of course, you know, there is going to be carbon in there and things like that, but there is trace amounts of potash, and it helps out. Farmers been using that for centuries.
So yeah, well, I
So
think I
that's the
found.
origins of making soap also.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right.
So there was no
a lot
excuse
of
in the
you-
back in the day for people to stink.
Not,
None.
that's right. They had they really wanted you to pay. Even
Everyone
back
can
then.
make fire.
So there was something about. Oh yeah, this is pay royalties. So license. So and this is the thing about licensing, and you always think of licensing as a modern concept. But so there was a recent surfacing of a licensing agreement in 1791. So Hopkins, including his efforts to generate revenue from his patent, and then so he actually had a license. He could have very well had a licensing agreement. So, and because you think about it, he's got to like license it to somebody to make this stuff because he probably wasn't going to go around every farm and say, "Okay, this is how you do that."
Yeah, because it's really expensive to run one. It's one of the most expensive mines to run.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So if I was to win the lottery, the first 2 things I would do is either 1, buy a potash plant because
Mhm.
they're so rare now, or 2, buy a concrete plant.
Oh,
I've never seen anyone go in the black, and if they have, they've sold it to companies like the IMI Pile Concrete, merger. IMI is all over, as you can tell. You pretty much
Oh,
go to
you see it
Indiana,
everywhere.
Illinois, Tennessee. Well, Pile Concrete was still making good money, but they were just like, look, we can't beat the conglomerates, and they ended up selling to them. They still ended up making quite a bit out of it. I've never really seen a company, go into the negative with that.
interesting.
Yeah, I'd buy and it comes from the earth. What are you gonna run out of earth?
Right.
Come on now.
Well, that's a perfect segue to our next item. So this is something in the news now, and that is, can you transform a hazardous material into a new building material? And somebody is actually trying to do that. So in this article here, not this one we just looked at, but this other one. Almost there, guys. There it is. So scientists transform hazardous material into breakthrough building product with major benefits. The massive win. So this is a company, or no, Remit University in May revealed that engineers successfully replaced 80% of cement concrete with coal fly ash, a toxic waste generated by burning dirty fuel in coal-fired plants. According to Remit, the project lead, the most low carbon concretes can contain no more than 40% of fly ash. So, and I don't know that much about the fly ash, but I get the feeling that someone else here might.
So I worked for a company called Fleet TLC. And what we did is we installed equipment for a company called GCP. where it improved the slump solution to where you pretty much turned your concrete truck into a Tesla. It added water. It knew exactly what the slump would be. It would monitor its temperature. Verify is actually one of the best systems as far as slump solution technology. They really help out a lot of the drivers with like Cheney and US Concrete and stuff. But fly ash is very dangerous. If you ever seen those semis that looks like they've got hoppers coming down a big stainless steel tanker, right? And typically those are fly ash trucks, and they run solid all day. Those CDL drivers, they make so much money off that, and all they're doing is they're going over to batch plants and they're hooking up the fly ash system, and it's got, you know, a hopper in there with a little reverberator, and it vibrates the fly ash out. Now here's the dangerous part. One guy didn't hook up the hose right one night at a concrete plant. I think I was in Phoenix when it happened. So it's already like 100 degrees.
Oh, goodness.
We've been out there for like 12 hours, and we're getting ready to finally leave. And all of a sudden you hear, "Oh no!" And you just see a
You never
plume.
want to hear that in an
A
industrial setting.
plume of fly ash.
Oh my God.
The whole thing, the whole concrete plant was completely covered. We couldn't see each other within 2 feet in front of us.
Oh my gosh.
And we finally, we don't know where to run. We don't know whether to run to the batch, run this way, because everything's a desert and it's dark and we don't know. It was literally like doing underwater scuba diving in a cave. That's what it felt like, except you still also couldn't breathe. And every one of us came out, and one of the guys was like, "Well, you got cancer." I was like, "Excuse me?" He goes, "That's silica, buddy." He goes, he goes, "That's," they get something called white lung. A lot of batch operators, you'll see them operating from inside. Before then, them good old boys, they did everything on their mixing on their own.
Yep.
And they would get white lung. So it's,
Goodness.
you know, it's really, really bad. I do make sure to get my lungs checked because I was in respiratory distress for probably almost like 2 solid days,
Goodness.
just trying to get that all out. I mean, we were all just white phlegm all day, and fly ash is just as dangerous as cement.
Nasty stuff. So what do they do with it when they truck it off? Where do
Well, by EPA, they require you that you can never leave you can't leave the plant with a dry load. So the way that it works is that the concrete truck will back up to the batch. The way it's automated now is that they'll have a ticket load. It knows exactly which gravel to go in there and this, and they'll either operate the hopper, maintenance technician, he'll load in the proper gravel, mixes with the fly ash, mixes with the cement, and then you have what you call ready mix concrete. Then they use the truck's pressure, because most of these trucks are CDL, they run on air systems. So they'll pressurize the truck's saddle tank. They also have pumper trucks, you know, using pneumatic or bladder pumps. And then they pump water in there. So
they're actually doing sort of what these guys are doing already, except they're just
it's
using
ready
more of it.
They're using a lot more of it. Man, I'm not gonna lie, like there's a massive concrete shortage in the United Kingdom right now just for doing a roadway. We had one a couple of years back.
There's a concrete shortage
in the United Kingdom. Yeah.
Wow.
They're building their new version of what they call an interstate. Because there's just one state. But anyways, they're doing that. Fly ash, of course, helps, and of course, cement is needed in concrete, you know, with the gravel and everything. But you know, you only have a limited amount of time. That's why you see concrete plants in different parts of town, because you might not be able to get Harrods Concrete all the way to Winchester from their plant here.
Wow.
Because of the fact that the last thing you want is that to ever harden or ruin its slump, because that contractor is going to be the guy that signs off. He's going to test the slump, and if it's not good, you just wasted a $1,500 load.
I got stuck behind a concrete truck today.
Don't get next to it if it could. Yeah,
I was gonna say, so how dangerous?
Yeah, I can't tell that one story, but all I know is that you got to be really careful with them, because you got to think their top center of gravity is a lot higher. So they take a huge risk when they're driving. So give them space. Yeah. Okay.
Give them a lot of room.
Because when those roll over, it's horrible. It ruins the road.
Yeah.
It ruins that. And then we've come up to what we call the drum graveyard, where there was an idiot or someone that was dumb, or the truck broke down.
Yeah.
And the concrete hardened in the drum.
Oh gosh.
That's it.
That's
done. Yeah. No, you you get a heavy duty crane. The mechanic's crane will not work. You have to take that drum off and replace it. It's a very, very expensive
I was
job.
gonna say, you'd almost think they'd just say, okay, we're done with this truck. Let's just.
They'll put chippers in there to chip out the hatches and leftover concrete in there and stuff. And they put concrete retardant every night on their drums and stuff. That used to burn our skin off working on those trucks, but they never washed it off. They just didn't want us to touch our truck. Their truck. They're like, I don't want this equipment. I've been doing this for 50 years, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, it's okay. It's pretty good. I don't have to pull over and add water and then go check my slump and all that other stuff. But once it's filled and it's hardened, that's it. You might get lucky and pour Coca-Cola in there, and that will actually keep one Coca-Cola. You will always see a 2-liter of Coke in a concrete driver's truck.
You always hear these stories about, you can take Coca-Cola and melt a penny or something. So it'll keep concrete.
It'll stay very liquidy. And if you want to really upset a general contractor or a foreman, pour that in there.
Sounds like you might have seen that firsthand.
People have learned lessons.
So what do you think? Is this something we should be worried about?
This is
the next asbestos.
This has been happening for decades.
So
It's
nothing.
just now getting noticed and stuff. I'm sure that now, because drivers are retiring and stuff like that, or old batch office operators, maybe they're getting white lung, maybe there is an increase in cancer or something like that. But we've been using fly ash for decades.
I can hear the attorney commercials now.
I'm
have
waiting
you
for
worked on? Have you driven a concrete truck?
plant?
Yeah.
I'll be
Have you
calling
worked-
that number. I'll be like, I was there for a day. So,
You may qualify.
yeah, it was a really bad day.
really, really bad day.
That fly ash driver, he was in the hospital for like a solid week, dude. Yeah, that poor guy. He was all upset. He was like, my sandwich was in my truck.
I think the sandwich would be the last thing I'd worry.
I could not be hungry at that point.
Oh goodness. So yeah, it's a necessary evil. I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know. I guess time will tell the tale, but
Well,
If you're
I'll
not
let
gonna
you know
use-
in about 10 years.
if you're not going to use concrete, what are you going to use? I guess that's the other piece to this. So
Yeah, concrete's the best.
Yeah.
So you win every time.
yeah, I'd like to think it's pretty inert, but
There has been some concretes that we tested that you'd be very surprised with. There's a lot of structures out there that'll live way past us. Yeah.
yeah, outlive us all. Well, and there's the whole thing about Roman concrete. So they'll go to these like ancient Roman concrete aqueducts, and they're still fine. They hadn't broken down.
What was the thing?
I think we had an item on Inventor Friday on that.
We
once.
had an article about that.
Somebody cracked that. Somebody figured out what they did.
I know that no matter what, the Romans did really good. I'll go into the censored version of it, but the reason why all of our railroads and our space shuttles and everything else are set, the tracks of all of our railroads across America are 4 feet and 8 inches.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because of the fact that it's 2 horses behinds and a chariot that started from the Romans, and now we've advanced it to space shuttles and stuff like that. So you can look up the story in regards to
that's
it.
a great story.
But yeah, no,
I've read that one.
Yeah, the Romans did pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
They kind of set but nobody's been able to crack the concrete that wouldn't crack that. So I think they're onto it. But I would love to see some inventor, entrepreneur out there. Hey, talking to you all, that would really take that. Okay, we figured out how the Romans made 100-year concrete that lasts 100 years, and run with it.
We're using fibrous materials now. That's one thing we definitely see a lot of fiberglass materials being mixed in with the concrete.
Yeah.
It makes a really big difference. If anyone follows like Top Gear, Richard Hammond did an engineering show for a while, and he explained, the difference on fibers, concrete without rebar, concrete with rebar and stuff. Like, I think he dropped, it was like a 8,000-pound slab or something. He dropped a 25-pound weight on it without rebar. It broke in half. But of course, it didn't happen with the rebar. So,
Well,
yeah. And I don't think Romans were rocking rebar back in the day. So I don't know what they were doing.
I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look it up and see, but yeah, it was some ingredient or something in the process, I think, that they did.
That Roman spirit.
That Roman spirit, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it.
Dan had a comment in here, said he thinks it was an old popular science magazine, had an article of using nuclear waste for streetlights.
Nuclear waste for streetlights.
There you go. We'll all be glowing soon.
That's another
Everybody
reason.
wants to glow.
Well, let's move from fly ash to hamburgers. So this next article, kind of interesting. So Whataburger, and if you don't know what Whataburger is, it's a very popular burger chain. It's not quite a McDonald's level size, but so they sue a mom and pop in North Carolina, called What Dash A Dash Burger over the name. There's a picture of their place right there.
This is when Burger Queen came out in Lexington. Yeah, remember that?
And there was there's another one here in Kentucky.
There was another.
This actually reminds me of this one. So there was have you ever heard of the chain Smashburger?
Yeah.
So Smashburger, and this was kind of a reverse of this. This was kind of a David Goliath kind of thing, where the little mom and pop was getting sued by the big corporation. It was the other way around when they came to Kentucky. So Smashburger came to Kentucky, and there is this little. They've got great burgers, and if you ever go to Prestonsburg, Kentucky, you can get a great foot-long hot dog or burger, but it's called Smashburger. And they sued the incoming because the Smashburger chain had been all over, and they came into Kentucky, and then the mom and pop that had been there forever sued them. Now they settled, and I think everything's fine now. But I was glad to see the little person actually.
It's like that
win.
That barrel sandwich. So Devin, I don't know if it was Devin or if it was Aaron that tried it, but that sandwich that was in Montana that got sued or whatever, how it had its own patented bread where they stuffed all the meat in there. If you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
one.
I can't remember what they call it. It was something club foot or something like that.
Yeah, it was an odd name.
There was another one they named it or whatever, and Clubfoot sued him or something like that. But that sandwich was really good apparently. So Whataburger is only famous for one reason, and I'm not trying to shame on Whataburger. Unless you want to sponsor us, Whataburger, give us money.
Hey, that's right. Whataburger, if you want to give us
We'll throw it every week. Just put one in Kentucky, but no, King of the Hill. King of the Hill made Whataburger famous. Whataburger.
Interesting.
I pretty much lived for almost half the year in Dallas traveling and San Antonio, and every morning we would wake up and we'd all come out of the hotel and be like, "What do you want to do for lunch?" "Oh, well, there's a Whataburger." "Nope." Before I could even finish the burger part, they're like,
really?
"No, it's famous because of King of the Hill, not because of its quality.
Well,
In-N-Out's got them beat."
okay, so they're suing a North Carolina mom and pop, but do they even have locations in North Carolina?
I think they were coming into North Carolina,
Yeah.
and it was like almost preemptive,
Right
which
when
and that
Bojangles
bothered me all
was
by
coming
itself. I
in.
thought, okay, you guys. Well, here, let me see. There's a little more on this here. Okay, the first Whataburger opened in 1950. The first North Carolina Whataburger, meanwhile, founded by E.L. Bost and C.W. Bost in 1956 in Kannapolis, North Carolina. At one time, they counted 15 locations.
Oh, it was a local franchise.
So Whataburger number 13 was founded in 1969. So only Whataburger 13 is named in the lawsuit, which is the other North Carolina. Well, that doesn't even make sense. So I don't know though. I see this. So there's Whataburger, which is just like all one word, no dashes, and this one's got dashes. And I doubt they even knew each other existed.
I just been like, look, you can't sue me because my burgers taste good, yours don't. So
What was that?
That'd have been my
Funny.
argument.
That's funny.
So the big thing about trademarks is when they say, okay, this is an infringed upon trademark, is the whole crux of the legal crux they always look at is, will it cause confusion in the marketplace? I don't think a Watt-A-Burger number 13, I don't think I'm going to confuse that with Whataburger's logo and sign and
Oh, that
prefab.
terrible orange color.
Yeah, that
Oh,
orange
it's
color.
so terrible.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be confused.
That's like-
that's the thing is
It's like when they put the clown in front of, what was the liquor store that's got the clown or whatever in the front? Not Specs, that's the rabbit. That's the rabbit down in Texas. But there's a clown or whatever, the liquor store, a gas station.
a liquor store with a clown out
It's either a liquor store or it's a gas station, but the last thing I want to do is like, okay, I'm gonna drink and not try to remember this creepy clown out front as I'm getting ready to drift off.
Oh gosh, I think that just give me nightmares.
I'm not going to a liquor store with a clown on it. Yeah.
That is nuts. Oh goodness.
I'm gonna have to find that gas station, but there is a gas station chain out west across the Mississippi that has a really creepy clown on it, and they painted the whole thing like that.
So do you think they do that on purpose, or
I hope not.
I mean, is it
You're gonna
like
draw away
is it like
customers.
bad publicity is just as good, or
I think that they're
If
gonna
we-
go, people have to buy gas anyways.
wow? Well, that's another thing about these lawsuits is, and I'm going back to the sandwich. I think it was Club something.
It was a club foot
Clubfoot
sandwich.
sandwich. So I think I'd even heard they said both sales for both places just shot up because of the
The
feud.
competition.
It was
yeah.
almost like they said, "Hey, let's go sue each other and get it in the news, and it'll be free advertisement for both of us."
I think it would be a good idea. Number one, because it's just like playing a video game. If you play a video game, what happens when you beat the video game? You stop playing it.
You're
Like you have
done.
ADHD and you replay it like us or anything like that. But you stop playing the game, right? So now they just added extra levels into it. And yeah,
They just
they get to
keep it
continue. They
going.
got the
Yeah, yeah.
DLC. It's a lot more expensive for that package because of lawyers and courts and stuff, but I'm sure it's got them pretty
It's
famous.
almost akin to planned obsolescence.
Do you think
I would
it's like you know how they have like insider trading, right? Like maybe like doing
Insider
that,
gaming?
like insider gaming, yeah, or well, they're doing something or whatever that if they're doing this intentionally and suing each other on top of it,
Yep.
that I'm wondering if there's like any legality issues if they get caught like, oh, it was all a sham. We actually we're part of a Scrabble group. So that's what we're doing.
Oh gosh. All right. Last but not least on the news front here. So are micro reactors coming to a building near you? And this is actually RollsRoyce is the company that says they're teasing an Iron Man like micro nuclear reactor. Now, I'm not sure why they've got a plane in this picture.
Oh, they
other
make
than-
engines for
so
planes.
so are they going to put a nuclear powered reactor on a plane?
No, they've tried. They actually, the military did invent a nuclear reactor plane, and I don't think it ever got flight because it was too heavy. But they came up with a concept in the 50s and 60s. Don't quote me on the exact year, but they did try to do that. Rolls-Royce has been making engines since the Spitfire, which helped win Battle of Britain. You hear a lot of the stuff about GE engines having issues and stuff, but Rolls-Royce, they started in jet engines and everything, and then they were like, oh, let's build a car. And then they became really famous. That's why anytime I crack the joke, like, it's like, oh, it's got a Rolls-Royce jet engine in it. I'm like, that's nice. It's got diamonds.
Right.
They know where their money comes from. It's not coming from their exotic cars. It's coming from their jet engines.
So these are supposed to be like little small modular type nuclear reactors. So if they put that in a plane, though, I can think,
No.
okay, put it in a factory, put it in a building, put it in something that's kind of stable that won't like accidentally fall and crash and burn.
Well, think about the hydrogen fuel cell cars. Toyota is starting to expand outside of California now because we've found that massive hydrogen pocket and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Doing the gas and stuff. Toyota got famous before they made cars, kind of like how Rolls-Royce did jet engines, but Toyota used to build looms, like clothing looms,
Really?
textile looms. Yep, that's how they first started. And they used their loom technology to actually carbon weave their new hydrogen fuel cells.
Oh,
And they
that's
did
cool.
tests where they shot 50 cal BMGs at it and stuff. And it's not like the explosion you saw from all that was also big oil going, oh, it's dangerous if you use these. Watch what happens when we blow this much hydrogen in a room. Well, when it's compressed, it is a kinetic explosion, but the way that they have it set up is that it pretty much escapes all at once. It's not dangerous or
Let's make
anything.
the worst explosion
I mean,
we can
your milk-
for PR purposes.
If your milk's in the trunk, it's ruined.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but I'm sure you in the driver's seat and stuff, you're going to be fine. They showed all the stuff it could withstand. There was a few of the fuel cells that actually did withstand the 50 BMG.
Yeah.
A couple rounds into it. So it's transitioning and stuff like that slowly.
Hydrogen, I mean, they talk about all these other alternative energies, but I mean, hydrogen fascinates me. It's it's water vapor, and when it's done,
Porsche
and-
did the same thing. They've
Yeah.
actually got water that's fuel. It's down in Chile. If you actually follow Donut Media, a guy named Zach Job, he does a lot of the science, podcasts and stuff with him in little shorts. He went down and drove a Porsche Panamera. And because there's only one factory, Porsche is working on it. They were like, we're going to put 1 gallon of gasoline that was made from water. They've actually converted water to gasoline.
oh wow.
I know, right? Like, let the Romans know.
Oh
But,
yeah.
like, yeah.
Right.
So, anyways, it costs $90 a gallon right now. But you
Oh.
got to think, there's
Yeah,
a giant
well,
plant
that's
right there.
now,
That's
but
the
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
cost analysis. But
yeah.
it is going to get better and stuff. I think that Porsche is going to patent the processing for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they're going to get into the energy game. I think that they're going to do that. They're already doing
Really?
wind turbines and stuff like that. But I think that now they're going to get into fuel or, different form of resources that are possibly renewable.
Cool. Yeah, so it says this micro reactor based on established nuclear technology uses a compact modular design capable of providing 1 to 10 megawatts of power. Each particle of uranium in its core is surrounded by multiple protective layers, enabling it to withstand extreme conditions. So yeah, and I don't know. You think it'll work? You think
Yeah, David
something
Hahn,
like that?
a Boy
It'll
Scout.
work. The Naval Research Laboratory, NRL, has been working on small size, not for home use, obviously, but reactors for quite a period of time. If you can imagine nuclear submarines back in the 60s. I rode on them, and I was amazed at how small it was. And one of the subs I rode on was built in 1967, and it was just, it would
Oh,
fit
really?
in your, yeah, amazing.
Wow. October 30th, 1976 in Royal Oak, Michigan. His father, Ken Hahn, was a mechanical engineer, and his mom, Patty Hahn, suffered from alcoholism and schizophrenia and all that. And David was just 4, and he started learning a lot more about like science and things like that. And then he created a neutron source, and they called him the radioactive boy or something like that or whatever. But they got wind of it. And, it wasn't YouTube back in the day, so I'm sure he was exposed to quite a bit of stuff from it. But yeah, if that kid can make that out there in the 70s and stuff and didn't have Google to help him with it,
Yeah,
imagine what today. I'm sure there's some kid that's made it. He's probably been pulled away. And anyone that's going to create an energy source that's like that for home, and this is where the conspiracy theorist comes out. We're not going to see it for a while. Me and Julie were just talking about this 2 weeks ago. I said, if I ended up creating a non-renewable energy source that didn't require more of the source itself, I would probably not talk to you. I wouldn't call you. Phone in the trash, and then I need to go find a place to hide until I can produce that.
Utah, where the potash is.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang out there. I'm gonna probably end up in Moab, but no matter what, anyone that comes out with something like that, and you know,
Well, you
think
heard
about
the
it.
story of the guy that built the car in Ohio.
Oh, the water
The
engine.
water
and then
engine.
he went missing.
Well, no, he was at a Cracker Barrel meeting with investors and took one sip of a drink and said they poisoned me, and then fell over dead in the
Yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah, Big Oil's got
Cracker Barrel.
lots of
Yeah.
money. Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of money. There was actually like
That's the biggest conspiracy theory I've heard. in a long
BP
time
is
on that.
BP's evil. They even ruined a poor little bakery. There was an oil rig that they were launching, and they made a cake for it, and all the press was in there, and it had a little oil rig that chocolate sauce would come out and go over the cake, and it got out of control. And this is right after the BP's. It just starts going, and they're like, "No, no cameras, no, get them out of here." And apparently, the lady that owned the bakery shop, they sued the crap out of her.
Oh my!
And they were just like, "Oh, it affected
Well,
this. We
that
lost
goes
millions."
back to, they really didn't have a reason to do that,
Yeah.
but they did it.
And that's the one spill that they didn't apologize for.
Oh gosh. Chocolate sauce everywhere.
Yeah,
Oh,
didn't need Dawn for that one.
no. All right, so let's move on. So we've got a couple of inventors I want to kind of bring on to the front here. We've got a couple of featured inventors. The first one, let me see if I can find you in here, is Aaron Farmer. Aaron, I'm gonna add you to the spotlight. There we go.
Cool.
Hey, Aaron, how are you?
Hey, Don, I'm doing great.
Good.
Thank you so much for the presentation. It's been a lot of fun listening to your guys' discussion and thinking about inventions throughout history, whether or not they were intended for the purpose they actually ended up with or otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, well, you've got an interesting product. Tell us a little bit about what you have.
Yeah,
About the
sure.
ant.
So I invented the ANT. It's an acronym, aka the apparatus for navigating tarps, and it's a padded strap that clips into the grommets of a tarp. So for landscapers, homeowners, roofers, farmers, anyone who might be dragging materials around on a tarp, what they would conventionally do is grab the corners, drag it backwards. It's a huge pain. It's slow. I hated doing it so much working for my dad's lawn service as a kid that I thought there's got to be a better way. And I think experienced a light bulb moment that many of us probably have, and went to my dad's truck, got some old bootlaces, tied them together through the grommets, and made the first iteration of this. So at first it was just some bootlaces, and I'm like, this is so much better than what I was doing. But wouldn't it be nice if it had a pad so that the rope didn't like burn into me? And then wouldn't it be nice if I could clip it in and out of different tarps? So that's how it got to have carabiners that clip in and out. And using that over the years, we got to the point where, yeah, using that over the years, we got to the point where we're like, we wonder if other people would find value in this. So I forgot to do the market research. I didn't know that I was supposed to before I started the business.
Right.
But we thought we had something that worked so well for us that we just wanted to get it out there. We applied for and got a patent, mostly just because it would be cool to be recognized as inventors, and that kind of accidentally laid the foundation for the business and what I've been doing for the past 3 years.
Wow,
That is cool.
this is so cool.
I saw the hunting thing. First off, that's gonna save a lot of dudes' shoulders.
I didn't even think about the hunting application.
I don't know about uphill. What about up? Like, how well does it handle on like levels, like 10, 20 degrees, or like any slopes? Do you have any issues with it?
It's a lot easier than trying to drag a tarp uphill without one.
I see there's kids using it too. At least they're not having, because kids are always gonna have to do something with leaves. I'd be like, what do you want for your birthday this fall? I want the ant system.
Hey, that's
Tired
right.
of dragging the leaves with this tarp and putting my little fingers in those holes.
God, I love this. So you told us a little bit about how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, it was I was doing this and just got so frustrated that I thought there's got to be a better way. And this is my solution that has worked really well for us. And so far, all of my customers seem to really like it too.
Then he had a lot of.
So what was the hardest part of this, you think, for you?
Of the starting the business or doing the yard work?
The whole thing. No, the hardest part of, just coming up with it, getting it patented, prototype, made, just that whole process.
It is hard to nail down what the hardest part is because it has been 3 years of a lot of different hard stuff, different obstacles. Pretty much every day is started with Googling how to do something, or what is this? Explain this to me. What's going on? Chat GPT has been the single best business asset that has ever come about for that reason, to try and figure out how the world works and who sells things to who and how things come to be. Yeah, I don't know. It was all difficult trying to figure out I don't have a business background. So really the first year of the business was spent trying to figure out, we've got a prototype with stuff that we found at different hardware stores. How do I turn this into a readily mass-produced product? And that was coming right out of COVID in 2021. So it was difficult to find companies who could do the kind of work and were willing to take a flyer with a small business and a contract for 100 small batch units that doesn't exist. But we did. So it's gotten to the point where we were making 100 or 200 at a time to 500 most recently, and hopefully the next batch is 1,000 or 2,000.
That's fantastic.
That
That
you
is
do
really
another
something.
patent on that.
Yeah.
I run with the John, like I love my John Deere, right?
Yeah.
And then typically I have to load everything in the trailer, right? And
Yeah.
while I understand the ant system is made for a people carrier and stuff, you got to travel for, like, my backyard's really big.
Yeah.
Is there a way that he could patent something to where it goes on the back of a ball hitch or a pin hitch or something? So that way you could use the mower and use the ant system itself. You can not only just carry more, you can make, like, okay, I'm selling the rugged edition tarp where it's got less tear through or anything. And you can be able to go as fast as you want while still hauling. Or if you were doing gravel, being able to hook up to the other two hoops in the back and creating a 4-point system or a 6-point to where you're just dragging Santa's bag and, you know.
So that's a good question, Aaron. Aaron, are you any iterations in the works?
So not in the works. I'm always receptive to feedback, or at least I try to be. So you've reminded me, and I'm writing down because I have heard it so many times that people want to hook it up to their lawnmower. And that's something that I've been doing for years. And I was discouraged at first because in the early days of the company, our company attorneys told us, don't market that. People could get hurt. That seems more dangerous than just having people drag it. And I listened to them. But I've heard enough people say since then that they're like, well, can you hook it up to your mower? So I have footage of doing that I need to upload and add to the website here to see that in, like, the continuously rolling footage, because I think that's silly. I think that's lawyers being lawyers saying, like, don't do this.
Yeah. Never let lawyers drive the bus.
So you're going to be like,
Yeah.
today.
Well,
that
I don't know how many of you are hunters, but anyone who's been out in the wild, if you're hunting elk, and you dress down a big elk, and then you gotta hump that thing 3.5, 6 miles somewhere, or either manually or with a 4-wheeler. That is the answer right there.
Yeah, in Kentucky, they don't allow ATVs and a lot of the WMAs.
Oh,
Exactly.
So when you that deer, a lot of them will leave, like, just the carcass and grab the meat. I'm not typically, I don't like the taxidermy thing. I don't even like drilling into deer antler. It smells like a dentist's office when you drill into the antler. It's absolutely horrible. But I can see how this can be able to help. Elk, we're not worried about. We have to get a lottery on that, so I'll never have to worry about that.
True.
That lottery. But as far as, like, Colorado goes or Montana or anything, yeah, this system, I don't know about going straight up a mountain with it, because anytime I've seen elk hunting videos, they're just rolling down there. I'm like, well, that dude's got an ATV. It's Montana. You're legally, it was until 4 years ago, you were legally allowed to drink and drive and shoot a shotgun out of your truck.
Wow.
That was legal in Montana.
That sounds like Montana.
So,
So Aaron, so what was what was the thing that helped you the most to get from idea to finished product, you think?
I'm thinking from idea to finished product. Persistence, definitely, because I mean,
Yeah.
I think that's a part of life no matter what you're doing. You're gonna encounter roadblocks and hurdles and obstacles, and the only way you're ever gonna get forward and advance past those things is to figure out a creative solution around, over, below, whatever the case.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Well, this is just fantastic.
I will
And-
say I don't have the lawn or anything that I would need to do this for, and I don't have much experience in dragging tarps. My first thought was hooking it up to a tractor or an ATV. So
Yeah, I mean, it's a strap, so
We're a 15-year-old. Oh, well, fantastic. This is just so cool. I definitely want one. And the cool thing is I get the feeling I'm probably going to get to see one in a few weeks. 'Cause
absolutely.
you're going to be joining us at the innovation station at the state fair. So so folks, if you want to buy one, if you want to see one in real life, come down and see Aaron and all of our other inventors at the innovation station at the Kentucky State Fair. It's going to be August 15th through the 25th. And Aaron, we're just really looking forward to having you there. And I'm just so I'm really excited that that you're going to be doing this, and I'm really just amazed at just the progress you made. You came up with an idea, you've had them made, you've taken them to the marketplace, which I just think is so cool. And you've got products, out there being sold. That's fantastic. That's a big win. So definitely everybody, let's give Aaron a hand. We really appreciate where you've taken this, and I think you're an inspiration to.
I'll do even better. I'm gonna buy one.
So
Yeah,
Aaron, I think you got a buyer too.
Yeah,
So-
dude, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I know it's dangerous to hook it up to a mower. I'm hooking up to my mower, but
I do it too.
I do want one. That is one of the worst things ever, that you drag something halfway through and then your fingers just slip and it just comes all it kills me.
I think you were out of the room when Don said he'll be at the state fair with us.
Oh, he's gonna be
Yeah,
at the state fair.
yeah,
Well,
he's gonna be at the state
bring one
fair.
for me, please.
Yeah,
So,
Absolutely. I'm hoping Don is going to let me take him for a ride on a tarp.
Okay, we are so getting that on a video.
We've got to do demonstrations.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
EMS.
Oh,
EMS.
So fire and safety recovery and stuff like that
Yep,
in
yep.
Red River Gorge. You got someone down a hill or whatever, you can use the ant system to drag them out. They already have like body carriers, but
Right.
if a park ranger, he doesn't have a stretcher that you could be able to pull someone out. So if he's able to effectively get them or help them or something like that, you can actually help out. Avalanches, people get injured in the mountains and stuff. They can throw one on the back of a snowmobile, and hopefully, but
all
design it.
kinds of use cases.
Yeah, there's a lot of uses for that as far
Aaron,
as EMS goes.
I think when you and Chris get together, you're going to have a lot of use cases to talk about. So
I'm very excited to talk more to you guys because I appreciate the way that your minds are lighting up with different ideas and ways that it could be useful.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And Aaron, we will see you in at the state fair.
Looking forward to it.
All right. Also tonight, we've got Nick. Nick, where are you at? I'm going to ask you to unmute. I'm going to,
I'm here, Don. Can you hear me?
there you are. Yep. I just got to put you in the right spot. Hang on. I'm almost there. Add spotlight. There we go. There you are. Hey, Nick.
How's it going, guys?
Nick, tell everybody who you are and what you have. Yeah, about your
Hey.
invention.
All right, my name is Nicholas Gilbert. We got a patent on the spring engine turbine, which is basically just a wind-up electric generator for emergency uses. So we're chipping away at that. I got to give props to Aaron real quick though while I'm thinking about it, because the ant system, it's so remarkable, because when I was a kid, I remember we were throwing away a bunch of logs and stuff that were cleaned up on a property, and so we were throwing them in the back of the truck. Okay, well, when we got to our dump zone, we was having to unload every piece one at a time, and so we kind of got the idea to put a piece of carpet in the back of the vehicle, in the back of the truck, and we loaded up that second load. And we got there, we was heaving and hoving, trying to drag it off the back of the truck. So a system like that you could hook, to a tree or something like that, and drag, pull out from underneath your load, would save your back, and I mean save you a lot of time and everything. So I'll definitely come to the show too. I've got to have one of those things. That my dad would love it too.
Very cool.
Pretty
Yeah, you
neat.
just punch a couple holes in the carpet, hook an ant up to it.
Yeah, I mean,
hell, it
yeah,
wouldn't be a bad
somebody-
idea to just keep one in the truck.
Yeah, because it was so hard to drag it out without a strap or anything. We were just grabbing the corners, like you said, was tugging and pulling on it. It worked, but it was, I mean, with the strap, it would be so much easier. That's props to you, Aaron. That's awesome. I love it.
Thanks, Nick. I appreciate it.
TikTok video of like how efficient workers, and it's just got it hooked up to a tree. You see an F-350 that's just been completely modded, just dragging out and just all drop at once. It's like it's still in the tarp.
Yeah.
They kind of pull cloth out from the
There you go.
table.
And the flowers are still standing.
Oh yeah.
So Nick, tell us about the spring engine turbine. We've watched this. Actually, you were at the fair with us in our very first innovation station we had 2 years ago, and we got to see it. We got to see it demonstrated. Anybody who goes to our website and goes to see the details on the innovation station, we've got a link to the video, and Nick, you're in it. Yeah, we actually showcase. You're one of the showcased inventors and inventions on the video. So give everybody just a little bit of background of what all this, how it works and what it is.
Okay. I'm dropping a link in the chat right now too to our newest video. It's on YouTube there. It'll come up there if you want to kind of a little video that we've done. But it's basically just a electric generator that runs on spring power. Basically, what we figured out was, well, I'll give you the backstory. This gentleman, Old Man Napier, was a clock repairman, the grandfather clocks, and he had passed away and left me a whole bunch of awesome little parts and pieces and worm drives and gears and stuff like that. And the particular piece that he hadn't worked on yet, or maybe just hadn't got around to working on it, it was wound up really, really tight, and we couldn't. It wouldn't unwind, and so it ended up being like just a little bent sprocket rod in there. And when I took it out, it was able to spin freely, and it just kind of hit me like the light bulb idea that everybody's talking about. The big light bulb over top of your head. It just hit me that we could hook up a generator to that and actually collect that current, and then store it in a battery bank and invert it like you would anyway. And so we built a small prototype, and then we ended up building the bigger one that you're seeing there on the video. And we're scalable, so we can, right now we're cranking out 4,000 watts, but our engineers are saying that we can crank out, kilowatts. So it just depends on how big we want to build it or how small we want to build it. But so we're making some progress with it. We're, like any invention, we're hitting some little hiccups here and there as far as finances. We've got to pre-sell 120 of these generators to get our engineers to make the production model and get the blueprints and stuff that we need. And then from there, we'll be ready to launch publicly.
Fantastic.
I have a question to follow up on that. So when he said that he was talking to a watchmaker, one of my favorite watches is a Grand Seiko. I'm sure that you know about the Grand Seiko and its spring drive. It's the 9R spring drive, actually. And it's so efficient that 10 years from now, it would be off by like a millisecond.
Yeah.
And
they're fun.
So how much different is the spring drive? Because I know that you're using it to as a generator, but how much of a similarity is the Grand Seiko spring drive or the 9R spring drive compared to the mechanism that you're using in the generator?
Well, we're just going from the potential energy of the spring through a gearbox, and then from the gearbox to literally a wind turbine. And then the wind turbine's collecting the current and then putting it into the battery bank and then converting it through pure sine wave. to the inverter. So it's a little bit different than the watch because it's more of a direct drive. But so we've got some stages in between there or whatever. But so you can manually wind it up, but we also put an expenditure on there, which would be the solar panel, so that the sun kind of winds it up for you, and so you can collect energy to wind the spring up, and then and it basically we're not we're not one of these inventions where we need to go into hiding, because I thought we were there for a minute. I was like, we're kind of creating some electricity, we're not putting no fuel in it. But our patent attorney tells us that it's no different than a solar panel. We're just collecting energy a different way. Instead of hand cranking it, we're hand cranking it, to put torque on the spring, which is giving us, producing electricity. And as it unwinds, it's also giving us electricity. So we got two ways of input, but so fairly simple idea.
Nice. They do a smaller version. So Nick, what was the hardest part, you think, with this whole process for you?
The hardest part was finding a patent attorney. Well, that's probably one of the hardest things. There were several hills and hiccups, but finding a patent attorney that was going to be honest, that was actually going to, Kenneth Pierce was his name. He's super awesome. I still want to get you guys hooked up and get him on your show. He's there local to you guys. But he's a really good, honest patent attorney, and he's really smart. And he knowed, instead of us doing a design patent, because I told him I wanted a design patent, and he talked me out of it and said we want intellectual property patent. So we patented the process to make the electric instead of the internal components in there, And so he's a real good guy to have on your all's team. I recommend him to anybody that's got inventions that they want to improve on or something like that. Super smart guy. I mean, you can tell by talking to him, he's done this for like 30, 40 years, and he patents for people all over the world. So he's looking at getting us internationally patented right now. So there's a lot of stuff in the works, but guy's brilliant.
Very cool. Very cool. Chris, you have a question?
I want to get that guy's contact info.
Oh, we can do that.
Talking about
We'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Well, you all will both be at the state fair, so
We'll be seeing a lot of people.
you're going to be seeing a lot of folks at the state fair. So
Yeah, we're going to bring the prototype. We'll have the prototype that we just redone. We actually just redone it. The one you see in the videos all got the aluminum housing on it. Well, we've done away with that, and we've put clear 1/4-inch acrylic plexi all around it, so it's see through, and it's got a new updated paint job on it, stuff, different colors and stuff going on with our scheme. And so when you actually look at it, no matter which way you're looking at it, you can see all the way through it and watch it work and stuff. So we're kind of excited about that.
Good optics with a demo is so important, and I'm really glad to see that for you, Nick. What do you think was the thing that helped you the most?
That helped us the most? About what, Don? I'm sorry.
Just the whole process from coming up with the idea to where you are now. What do you think really kind of helped you the most as far as moving forward?
I think it was probably what helped me the most really was self-motivation. I kept wanting to see this thing come out, because when I first built the little small one, it was just parent LED, and it came on. I thought, man, looking at the principle behind everything, the bigger I make it, the more revolutions I give out, the more energy I'm making. And so I really wanted to make a big one, see if it was usable, like instead of just an LED light, can we collect that and actually power other things with it? And sure enough, when we sold our business and sunk a lot more money into research and stuff, we built the bigger model, and sure enough, we can, cranking out a lot more energy. So it was, I guess it was self-motivation and just wanting to see this thing come to life and see other people benefit from it, because there's a lot of different applications, unlimited applications with this thing, from houseboats to pacemakers or whatever, because you can microengineer them. Apple's they're wanting to microengineer them and put them in some computers or something, maybe, or something like that. And that's kind of in the talks right now, as far as licensing agreement. So I don't know. We got different options and stuff we looking at, but that was probably my thing, was self-motivation, wanting to see it come alive.
How big, how big before the physics of the spring itself would eventually slow down?
How big could you make this thing, Nick?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the engineers, says that it's scalable. The bigger you make it, the more electricity it makes, but also it takes more electricity, or it takes more energy to wind the spring. So, that's where leverage comes in. Leverage comes in, and you can move, 5 tons with the touch of a finger. So that's the whole gearbox system in it is designed to where it pretty much, basically making a leverage point in there, several different leverage points. And you can literally, I'll show you when we come to the show and bring the model, you can wind it up with your pinky. I mean, but if you try to go to the beginning of the gears, because there's two stage gear system in there, the first stage gear system, you're not going to turn it. I mean, you'd have to have a pry bar 7 foot long to even try to turn it, versus the opposite end, the way the gear ratio is on it, you can turn it so effortlessly on the opposite end. It's unreal. But So there probably is there. We don't know yet. I'm sure there's probably some kind of breaking point. I know there's a financial cap. Because you could build it as big as you want to, but the financial situation of how big do you want to build this thing and how much. Like the problem right now, part of the problem it was finding the spring material to make the flat coil spring, because what's in it now is the extension spring, and it works and it's a prototype. And it actually works, but it's not real efficient. And so what the engineers are wanting to do is put the flat coil spring in there at certain dimensions. It's so thick by so wide by so long and so many coils, and it has to have a certain memory set in. There's a what they call heat memory that they put in the spring steel, and that's all configured into the engineer's thing. But it's a process to get it lined out to where it's going to be super efficient, even down to the bearings. So they're doing away with the chain and sprocket. You'll see in the video, there's a chain and sprocket system in it. They're doing away with that, and they're actually putting in a transmission in there. It's like a bevel gear transmission. And then they're also doing away with the pillar block bearings and putting magnetic bearings and stuff. And so you're speaking about RollsRoyce a while ago, they're wanting to take this machine and make it super efficient by adding these little points in there. So little ways to go with it, but we're chipping away at it,
How small can you make it?
Be almost like a phase convert, because he says you got to have some energy to build the energy for it. So like phase converters and stuff, you can be able to get 3-phase power and stuff from 270 or anything. Do you think that eventually over time, with enough research and engineering, you can go into possibly doing like phase generation to where you can be able to have a 3-phase generator anywhere you want, even in your own home?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they're looking at a 13 kilowatt system. So we're working on 3 models. We got the backpack model for like hobbyists. There's a lot of possibilities here with it. Like I said, we've even got it set up. Like I said, Kenneth Pierce, our patent attorney, is a genius. He had it set up to where we didn't leave anybody out. That's kind of the reason why we added the solar panel, to kind of let it build up, and then also it in our patent, it says that we can actually recalibrate the spring on the grid. So we could have it in your home and it kind of act as a step up transformer. You know what I mean? So then you could phase it up from that point, you know what I mean? And then just let the electricity calibrate it, because it takes very little energy to calibrate it when you got leverage in your favor. And then, but when it unwinds, the spring has got all full power going to that gearbox, which is turning the generator and cranking out quite a bit of serious energy there. But getting to Aaron's question, he asked how small could you make it? I'm not real sure. I know that we got capabilities micro-engineered it. So the way that the laws of thermodynamics works on this unit is the smaller you make it, the less energy you're making, and the larger you make it, the more energy you're making, because it all has to do with that spring power. Like right now in the prototype, it's about 800 pounds of torque going to that spring, the sprocket and chain system. So 800 pounds of torque is quite a bit when it comes down from big, small, big, small, big, small. So we're going like one rotation to 90 at the generator. So it's got quite a bit of torque in that sucker, But so as far as how small you can make it, I mean, I don't know. I can't wait to see though, because they're going to be making it bigger and smaller, I'm sure, because different companies are going to have different applications for it, and they're going to want rights to manufacture that technology and put it in certain items or whatever. So yeah, they may be able to put it in watches eventually, which they kind of it would kind of defeat the purpose, because they already got wind up watches, so you wouldn't want to add an element to it and actually create electricity just for when you could just wind it anyway. But who knows what they'll come up with, man,
I'm thinking this would make a great consumer good. I like camping, and if I am out for 3 or 4 days, I'm thinking about running the car. Or I often see, and I'm sure this company is maybe on your radar, Jackery. They make the size of a cooler. It's a portable power station, and
yeah, I think that
if you could just wind that up and get 8 hours of power out of it to charge phones and whatever other electrical stuff you want to take camping, that would be a phenomenal consumer product. But I really appreciate the applications for, if you could make something that a person could wind up and power a Walmart for an hour, and then you have a guy just go wind that up every once in a while. Yeah, I like that infinite energy was mentioned earlier, because this totally taps into that idea of I consider a tagline of some kind of energy anywhere, zero fuel. That's so big. No fuel and you get energy. That's awesome. That's so cool.
Well, it takes you about 6 minutes to wind it up. Now, this is just the prototype. It's more efficient, with the new ones the engineers are working on. It took us about 6 minutes to wind it up. And so while you're winding it, like I said, it's also turning the generator. But when it unwinds, we got a lot more time out of it because 6 minutes to wind it up at one end, as it unwinds from the other end, because we input from one side, output from the other. We're looking at 8 hours of electricity just from 6 minutes of winding, and everybody's blowing away. They're blowing away. Yeah, because and a lot of it has to do. We tried lead acid batteries at first, and there was a lot of cogging in the generator. It was really hard to charge the battery, so we went to the LiPo 4 batteries, the lithium iron phosphate batteries. And those things are phenomenal, man. They charge so easy. They got 100% discharge rate and stuff, and so there's no cogging in the generator. The windmill don't even know it's on there. The turbine just turns so effortlessly and charges the batteries up like it ain't nothing. But if you guys get a chance to check out the videos there, we kind of done a little demonstration video. Pardon my skill set. I'm not expert on videos or nothing like that, but I'm doing the best that I can, on the videos and stuff. But we do demonstrate it on there. And it kind of shows it in action. So
yeah, we're running it now, Nick. It's I love this video. You use drones, and it looks really cool.
You could do that for, there's a lot of electric bike or electric dirt bike places and stuff now out west. And they have charging stations where you're literally paying to charge up your electric dirt bike, and there's people popping those up. Man, if that thing fits in the back of your truck, if you can load up 2 electric dirt bikes and take that out there, you could sit out there, charge them $10. Be like, hey man, you got charged, blah, blah, blah.
Half price.
Yeah.
Cranking.
Hey, what's the output of it? Like, how fast could you charge something else?
Well, the current model, the prototype, is 4,000 watt output. So it just depends on, how much draw that the item that you're trying to charge is accepting. And I mean, there's like a whole lot of variables to it, but 4,000 watts is what's coming out of the inverter. So, and it's 110, it's set up for 110. So to get around that and make, 220, all you do is just double stack everything. Everything gets doubled. You got your battery bank gets doubled and gets bridged. And of course your inverter has to be bigger and stuff like that. So like I say, it's completely scalable. Tons of different options. Like I say, we're brand new. We've been trying to get this thing out to the market, and we had some investors lined up about 3 weeks ago in Tennessee. It was a storm shelter company. They was wanting to put this generator in all the storm shelters that they come out with from now on, just in case somebody gets pinned in their tornado shelter. They still got lights and oxygen and radio to get out or whatever. Charge their cell phones until somebody can come and relieve them out of the situation. Then we had another investor in Florida. Man, like I was telling Don, everything in the world came up to prevent us from going down there. I mean, we couldn't find a rental, and everything was took because we had to have a truck to pull a U-Haul to pull the machine. So currently right now, the unit's about 550 pounds, and it's a monster, but it's steel frame and it's all this. The engineers are trying to get it below 117 pounds, I think it is, and that's what they think that they can do, and still have 4,000 watt output. So that's the goal mark anyway.
A lot of weight, but that'd be so bring camping.
Well,
yeah.
Well, Nick, I'm really proud of the progress you've made, and just so excited to have you at the state fair again this year. So,
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Yeah, appreciate the invite.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's all give Nick a hand. Great job. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the fair.
I can't wait to see that. I want to play with it.
Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome to check it out all you want. You can plug stuff into it, run stuff off of it. You're not going to kill it. It's made pretty heavy duty.
We have a Mustang.
Can we plug my car into it?
I was going to say, we have a.
The commercial use for that, would be amazing. Along with my buddy Bob Hawkinson's plants. If you put something like that on the back of a landscaping truck, if you will, to charge all the batteries for your electric equipment, and instead of you got that. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's pretty silent. There's no when it calibrates, you'll hear a little bit of a ticking noise, because it's catching the gears and stuff in there. But it's pretty silent. So there's a lot of people that's giving us feedback saying that it would be awesome for tailgating and camping and stuff like that. Which we've used it for everything. And when you see in the video, like we went camping with it, we use it on the farm now. Everywhere we go, it goes with us. In the back of the truck. So we get a lot of use out of just the prototype. I'm so anxious to build the production model. It ain't even funny because it's going to run like a RollsRoyce and be even more quiet and more efficient and stuff. So that's that's what's keeping me alive right now, is that motivation to see this new model, the production model. So we're getting there.
Exciting.
And that's the that's the theme I hear, not just with the two inventors tonight, but I mean with all of the successful inventors that we work with, is that it's that persistence. That's it. It's getting up one more time and you fall down. That's what makes the difference between the ones that I see that make it and they do well, and the ones that I see that just walk away from it. So
Right.
Nick, again, that's a great, I think a great thing, and stick with it. And we're looking forward to seeing you at the fair.
Hey, we appreciate you. Thank you, Don.
Friday, absolutely. Okay, so let's see, what else do we have? All right, so any other questions from the chat? And I apologize, we don't have access tonight to the YouTube chat, but we will review it and get back with you. But we do have the Zoom chat, and so I think we've answered most everything on that. But Dan Wiggins was asking about the retail price. Do you have a retail price yet, Nick, for this?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Does Nick have a retail price yet for Spring Engine?
I think he was asking the retail price on the Ant, but the retail price on ours is we're estimated around $1,200 for the 4,000 watt model, and the price goes down and up, according to how many kilowatts you want or whatever. But I think you want to know the price of the Ant. And I'm curious about the retail price on the Ant also.
Yeah, $59.99. That's the retail price. Let me drop the website in the chat just in case anyone wants to go have a look at it.
Oh, nice.
You guys are gonna burn my paycheck when I come out. Like, we're trying to go make some money there. It's like when I go to Woodcraft, it's like, oh, this is pretty. That's about a day's worth of work.
All right. So, all right. Well, Julie and Chris, any parting thoughts? Tell us a little bit about what's going on at the Makerspace.
Lots of stuff. You want to start?
So many things. No, you start.
All right. Well, we're currently right now in the process. We've got our nonprofit now, and as you know, we're working and trying to get towards getting a grant for the nonprofit side. We did form Lex Fiber LLC. That has been, did that in about a day or like an hour or something like that. We have a fiber laser on the way because, of course, we're doing that with Xometry and stuff. One of the biggest things was members was asking to see if we had a CNC plasma cutter and things like that. That was something our metalworks department, we're going to be opening that up a lot more. We won't have members using the fiber laser, of course, but we will try to, of course, accommodate and stuff because we want to make sure we're doing metalworking.
All the things you'll be able to do with a fiber laser.
Oh, yeah. And we want to make sure to expand on that. Like eventually, if everything goes well with it and stuff, we'll look at a second one and then get into the micro fiber lasing or EDM machine. We're working diligently with a few people and a few friends, and it's been going really well. We've been doing massive changes in here inside of the makerspace. In fact, actually, we're in the process of reorganizing it. When you first came in and saw this place, when we were first opening up, we kind of had like tables all over the area and stuff. We kind of set it up like when you were in a PE class, when I guess the PE teacher was hung over or something, and they just be like, no, go do stations. I got to drink this apple cider vinegar real quick. But you would be in the basketball and then dodgeball and then the little thing that you flipped up that looked like Willy Wonka's everlasting gobstopper. And then, so now we have that as different stations and stuff. That's made the movement throughout the space when it comes to creating your project. You're not getting lost as much. So we're helping you out with your cognitive memory, and we're helping you out with setting you up. We've had a lot of really nice donations. In fact, actually next week, I think Christy Caliendo from Easywood Tools is coming in.
Oh, nice.
And she's going to be coming and seeing our demonstration for the lathe. We are now posting free classes and stuff. I actually have a lot more time available. So I am doing free classes to the community and stuff, teaching them the basics from, going from sanding, grit structure, staining structure, all the way up to now we're teaching you how, today we want to teach you how to do stuff on the lathe. It encourages members, of course, to come in. During the summer, everyone's on vacation. They're doing their travels and things like that. So every time fall happens in any makerspace, we always end up getting flooded with members, or they're doing stuff for, you know, Christmas, or even then they're just like, it's too cold outside, I want to come in. And you know, we have heat, so that's nice. Yeah, and
Just got to work on the air conditioning.
yeah, we're working
now.
on the air conditioning. We're the only way I think that we're working on the air conditioning. We're a couple months away from winter. So
Carrier needs to show you some love.
yeah, oh gosh,
We
there's two
mentioned them
Mr.
tonight.
Cool units like that are right up there, and we want them, but we got to get. I do want to give a shout out to Done Right Construction and stuff. He's really good with HVAC. I am trying to get him out here to do a little bit of air conditioning. So Justin, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Please call me. But other than that, we've had a really good community come through. We've had a lot of people that's come out with some inventions and stuff like that. And even ourselves, we've come up with different inventions. We had a lot of hurdles. We
We're
had to
gonna have some products at the state fair, I hear.
we're in fact, actually, this table will be done by the time for the, so yeah, but 5 digits. So yeah, but it's gonna be nice. Yeah, it's gonna be very nice. You can turn it into a kitchen island table. We'll do it custom ordered the way that, you know, hey, do you want these legs on it or these? But no matter what, the product is what's going to sell. I'm starting to notice that, and that's not through our nonprofit. That is just directly through other sellers and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
But you know, as far as the things going on in here, we're comfortable with where we're set up. We do want to always expand and add more. And I really like this place because it's rustic, it's haggard. It's not dangerous anymore. It used to be.
We won't talk about that part.
Yeah, it's not dangerous anymore for the members and stuff like that. We had to tackle a lot of hurdles and stuff, but you know, with us going, you know, it's a makerspace. It's supposed to be dangerous to an extent, but I had my godchildren here the other day, and what Peyton's 10 years old. Operating a table saw and a router, it all depends on the education that we show.
That's the key.
Towards people. I'm the safest person ever because I worked on an orthopedics unit. So we saw a lot of carpentry related accidents, even pressure washing.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely horrible, like that jointer. But that's the scariest thing I play with is the jointer. So I'm utmost about safety and security with that. But my dad, you know, taught me how to woodwork and stuff, or, you know, I would kind of walk into the garage and go, what are you doing? And I would learn those things. And it was with way more dangerous equipment. I had a radial arm saw. That right there is the most dangerous saw ever. I mean, it's just straight. That's it, you know? But as long as you're safe, you understand the steps, and you know the dangers of what will happen, you can operate those things at a young age. So we're teaching kids, because everyone just buys everything to replace everything, or they spend a ludicrous amount of money when you can just make that in here. We have programs that, you know, we offer to people. We've been given nonprofit programs to be able to help us. Microsoft Azure has helped us out with our web hosting, our website. That's been a huge financial burden that's been taken off of us.
You know, when you make something yourself,
You're better.
you're going to hang on to it
But
because you made it yourself.
there's a rule to that, though. You were just as upset if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there was a guy that said something one day, and I've memorized it to this day, is that no one has time to do anything, but yet they've got time to do it twice.
Yeah.
So when you come in here, you need to think, I've been in here from sunrise to sun. There's been days where I've come in, didn't see the sun, and when I came out, it was not there. So still wasn't there.
Yeah.
And it's really helped me out, and I've been able to help people out. Julie's been able to help us out. If it wasn't for her, we wouldn't have had half the documents to give to you.
Right.
So we wouldn't have had the website, you know, looking so good. We would even the Google business profile. She sent an entire team of people after it. And I loved it because we couldn't get it. They just kept, you know, having issues. So she said, let's flag it as inappropriate. Let's flag the business inappropriate. So that way a person has to look at it So she gets the business flagged as like inappropriate. And because of that,
You have to mess with Google a little bit to get places.
you have to be bad to get places in Google, apparently. You have to be a bad
Bottom
person.
line, everybody needs a Julie.
Yeah. Oh, and like I said, even when it came to the bat system, like our ceramics director, Stephanie Runyon, we've been friends since we were like literally little tiny kids. Our parents were friends together, which we didn't know.
Yeah.
And until we grew up, we were just like, wow, we forgot a lot. But I was just like, hey, I'll 3D print something for your birthday. And she was like, all right, cool. And then I ended up going into Julie because I was like, okay, simple, bat system, blah, 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 3D print. Why is it not an STL file?
Right.
And then I was like, crap. I was like, all right, let me call Julie. So I called her and I was like, do you know how to convert this? She was able to find it, as you've stated, professional Googler.
Right. That's the thing is none of this stuff is anything any of us really have ever done before. You started businesses before, but I haven't.
Yeah.
And I mean, Don, you've been a wealth of information for us, and thank you for
I
that.
call you
but
once a week.
you have
all right.
no
You
idea
keep
how much
going.
I have Googled about nonprofits. And you know, we figure it out as we go along, and that's one of my favorite things
And
to do.
I mean, that's kind of the essence of entrepreneurship, is just figuring it out
Exactly.
and
Yep.
and getting there with it. I mean, that's it. And you all done that. So anything else coming up?
He's going over there to grab
I think
something.
we've got something coming.
Anyone needs to learn about nonprofits and stuff and how much work it is, that's just the beginning.
Yep.
It's good reading. It's not good reading. But if you are wanting to
Read
start
like
your
area
nonprofit
instructions.
and you don't have a Julie or you don't have a Dawn or you don't have a Leo, it's a basic book. And this is also going to control every single form that you've got to do.
Yep.
Now, it's not including Kentucky One Stop,
Oh yeah.
which, by the way, Kentucky One Stop, whoever is the website developer for that company, get your stuff together because it is not in order, and you're horrible people for doing that. So our Fayette County government, if they are listening, they need to improve that, or we're going to have a decrease.
We're gonna complain on a live stream broadcast.
Right. And I'm sorry, but it's not just, it's affecting people that want to do this. If it wasn't for you, and because you looked at it and go, dude, this step is supposed to be here, D's supposed to be F, F's supposed to be C, and you were just kind of like, this is not right. And that's the government file. So if anyone is listening and is wanting to start that type of stuff, make sure that you're checking with someone who has done it before, that the Kentucky One Stop rules are right. And that could be in multiple states.
I think inventors, entrepreneurs, nonprofits, I think that just runs true with all of them, is you've got to learning from people that have done it already. I think that's why, our workshops that we do have the highest energy, because everybody's just kind of going in and saying, oh, well, I've been down this road. You don't want to go this way, you want to go that way, because this is what works.
The small business developers, the SDBs or SBDs, you get them at so anyone that's wanting to form a small business. When I first started one of my businesses and stuff, I contacted the University of Kentucky. That's our local small business person. In fact, actually, Devin Hoover, shout out, he's dad now, so it's very busy and stuff like that. Devin Hoover's one was like, hey, you should talk to him. My uncle does it. And it was funny enough that I was like, oh yeah, this guy named Devin or whatever told me about it. He goes, oh, that's my nephew. I was like, he goes, how do you know him? I was like, I'm staying at a beach house in Florida with him on a work trip right now. But anyways, talk to your SBA and stuff like that, so that way you can get the appropriate steps, because they'll guide you through the Kentucky One Stop, and they are a free resource for anyone that is wanting to do one in the state.
Fantastic. Julie, any final thoughts?
I don't think so. I think we've covered a whole lot of it.
We've covered a lot of
like
territory
I said-
tonight.
Like I said to you earlier, I wing it, you know? So this is my wheelhouse.
Understatement.
Just figuring things out and just
They're
seeing where
figuring it out
takes us.
Yep. Hey, absolutely.
I told her
Absolutely.
the other day, I was like, you should not have been a web developer. You should have been an engineer. And she's like, I know. And now she can. Now she can. So, you know.
So we're gonna see you guys at the state fair.
Yeah. We won't be
so
hot.
y'all gonna you're gonna have air conditioning. Yeah, we're gonna be in the big south wing, and we'll have you in there along with a whole bunch of other inventors. We're all gonna have really, really cool products to sell.
Be there
and
for what, 2 weekends or
we are,
something.
yeah, August 15th through the 25th. So if you are coming to Lexington, Kentucky, be sure and join us for that. If you want to be a participant, go to our website, kyinventors.org, and click on the link to get more details. And if you want to be a vendor, you want to be a participant in the innovation station. Other than that, watch for actually, it's late in the month, so you're going to be getting an email really soon about what's coming up from us in August. So stay tuned, folks. August is going to be a thrill ride.
You want to do just a couple things real quick.
Yeah.
Before we end. Number
Absolutely.
one, I want to make sure to give a shout out to Woodcraft in Lexington. I started there as a part-time job, just because I love that job so much. Yeah, because
It's amazing.
it is one of the best jobs,
Yeah.
but
like a toy store.
it has helped me out with convening and talking to people. There's some people it's like, well, I don't have a router, I don't have this. Come to your local makerspace and stuff, and because of that, I've seen them return back to Woodcraft. It's funny because I'll work a shift and you'll see some people in there.
Yeah.
And then also, not to plug myself, but the Handsome Charlie's Customs shop that I do on the side. That's why we formed this entire makerspace and stuff. We didn't know we were going to go to nonprofit. We didn't know that we were going to have our LLC and everything. We're slowly working on our Etsy seller store and our Facebook page and stuff like that. And once we get all that, developed, anyone that sees any of our works or anything, like and follow, and we'll be able to post them and stuff. We won't do it on the makerspace because we don't want to, mix in, muddy the water between nonprofit and for profit.
Sure.
But we'll have the Facebook wall up, and you'll be able to purchase some of the wares that not just me, but also other members. We want to make sure to help them out, kind of like incubating a little bit. That if they've got something that's really out there, they don't want to go through all the steps or anything, we can do that, and then we kind of help them out with a small service fee for getting it posted on there. But we don't want any of the profit of it. We just want to make sure to pay for the processing of it, and that's about it.
Fantastic. All right, cool. So where do they need to go if they are interested in Lexington Makerspace?
Lexmake.org.
Lexmake.org.
Yep.
All right.
And you can also visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and we got a TikTok.
Wow.
We'll also be posting on Eventbrite,
Mhm.
and I am thinking about doing the trial of Meetup.
Yeah.
It's just I'm noticing a lot more of Meetup has been growing in a social influence compared to Eventbrite.
Right.
Eventbrite's been going well, but it's getting too open.
Right.
Meetup is also doing that, but when you get those serious heavy hitters in there and stuff,
Right.
doing the locals and not online events, people tend to flock more towards it. So we're going to end up having a Meetup channel here pretty soon.
All right. All right. Stay tuned, everybody. All right. Well, with that, everybody have a great weekend. Thanks so much for joining us on a Friday night for this, and we will see you soon.